Hello, students. I hope you had a very good 4th of July. Back to work. Let's get the ball rolling on Module 7. But first of all, I want to recap the discussions you had on the birth of a nation. Discussions that were generally quite good and interesting. There were a lot of insights and things that you brought out from the film that I was very glad you noticed. For instance, Darielle from Group 3 pointed out that actually there were no African American actors in this film, at least not in the major roles. They had some in the crowd scenes, but you notice that the main actors who were supposed to be portraying black characters in the film were actually white actors in blackface, kind of like Jim Crow, the entertainer who gave his name to the segregation laws. So just another aspect of white supremacy that this film is absolutely saturated in. Also, very important, the role of women. And Group 1 and Group 3, both of you really picked up on this very nicely, that the stereotype of the black male rapist was so powerful for white Southerners during this Jim Crow period, and the fear of black masculinity was so great. This feeling that any black man would do anything he could to sleep with the white woman and was absolutely uncontrollable in this sense. It's a very powerful cultural myth that intersects with the whole idea of the ignorant Negro legislator in the film, Group 1, as you pointed out, when a law on interracial marriage, legalizing interracial marriage, is passed, and all of the legislators take a break from their whiskey and their chicken, etc., and start cheering. Again, this was a very, very powerful fear for white Southerners, and a lot of the Jim Crow legislation was justified as an attempt to quote-unquote protect white womanhood from this threat. Tanika and Stacy both pointed out that the women, even though they weren't Klan members, had sewn all the costumes. It says in the film about 400,000 KKK costumes sewed by women in the South. So you see the key role that women played in this effort. But Zachary, you made an interesting point for Group 3, that even if a white woman in the South had wanted to break out of this mindset and perhaps even date a black male, she would have been very afraid to do so because of the social pressure that would have been brought to bear on her. So, good point there. Finally, I had asked the question, why did white Southerners feel so threatened? So threatened that they went to these terrible extremes of supporting the Klan and the violence and harassment and so forth. And Sarah, you made a very good point, I thought, that the mindset of white supremacy was so deeply ingrained in the minds of white Americans, not just Southerners, but Northerners too. And things like that don't go away overnight. Every culture has its organizing beliefs that help it to make sense of the world. And it just so happens that in 19th century America and on into the 20th century, one of those organizing beliefs for white Americans was racism. And so when the North won the Civil War and when they imposed the Reconstruction governments on the South, as the South saw it, there was a tremendous feeling among white Southerners especially that they were under siege, that they were being controlled by an alien power, and they fought back, and the way that they fought back was the KKK. So, good discussions. I'm not going to impose my new rule, at least not yet, but I would very much like to see all of your initial posts, at least by, say, Thursday evening. This module's discussions will go on through Sunday, but if you could post your initial post by Thursday evening, I think that would really help us to get a good discussion going sooner. You're going to have two sets of discussions this time. One is about the video that you're watching about the life of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. A couple things about this video. First of all, watch it first before you watch the lecture, because it's earlier in time. Second, it's on the PBS website. It's a little persnickety. You're going to have to watch the commercials and the credits before it'll let you skip forward to the point where I want you to start. So just be patient with that. The second set of discussions has to do with the issue of isolationism as represented by Charles Lindbergh versus interventionism as represented by FDR. You'll have a document from each person. And I really want to see some lively discussion on this. This is a crucial issue, even for us today. Should we get involved in foreign countries, or should we just mind our own business? It's an absolutely living issue that affects people's lives and deaths even today. So I'd really like to see you get in there and take sides on this issue, and have a very lively discussion and some friendly disagreements even on this topic. Okay, I've got your paper drafts, and I'll be getting those back to you later this week with my comments. Very important, I have to apologize, class. I originally had the wrong dates for your second exam on your order of assignments. I had said July 3rd through 6th. Obviously, that's not the case, since Module 7 is covered in that exam. The real dates will be Saturday, July 9th through Tuesday, July 12th. And I've made the change on the order of assignments, and with all of the testing center and ProctorU and so forth. And so I really want to apologize for that. I hope none of you were inconvenienced by it. But the exam will be open Saturday the 9th through Tuesday the 12th. And that will mean that those of you who take it at the testing center will have the Monday and the Tuesday to do it. So that's it. If you have any questions, please get in touch with me. I'm very happy to help. Have a good week.